13 races complete in the All-American ARCA Series. One left, and it's here. Homestead, Miami Speedway. The championship, it's kind of been clinched. And what I mean by kinda is Season 4 has been clinched. There's still one championship out there that has not been clinched, and that is the season-long, and what I mean by season-long is the year-long championship. That is still on the line tonight, and we're going to talk about that and more coming up here from the virtual Homestead Miami Speedway as we welcome you in round number 14 of this, what has been a very fun season of racing. Brings us to South Florida in the penultimate, or not the penultimate round, the last round. So anyways, you get where I'm going. Homestead Miami Speedway, 167 laps tonight, 250 miles in the Miami 250. This 1.5 mile progressive banking track just to the south of Miami, Florida, right next to the Homestead Air Force Base, right before you get to the Keys, right off the Turnpike or US 1, whatever way you like to take. 78 degrees. Going to be working our way towards the nighttime here at Homestead as we get ready to go rocking and rolling. As warm-up is underway right now on the track. Let's take a look at the point standings. Let's start with the regular season championship. This is Season 4. The point standings for that. Matthew Weeks clinched that championship last week and has a 72-point lead. And you look down here and you see that this battle right around the 7th position in points were Dylan, Holmes, Bloom, Terrell, Colgan, Hall, Thompson. All of these guys right here within about 30 points of each other, right at the bottom half of the top 10. So we got a little battle there to keep an eye on. We got a little battle with 3rd and 4th. James Hi-Ho Silvers is kind of out here on an island on his own. Like a pirate, maybe. But either way, we got some great racing coming up here. Team points, Mountain Man Motorsports clinched that like last year. And they have a 519-point lead. The battle, though, is for 2nd, 3rd. Actually, let me back up a second here because I did not upload. Let me make sure I got this accurate. This is how you get prepared, Scala. Just saying. There's your updated points for team. So those 5, basically 4 of those 5 battling each other. Now I'm starting to worry I didn't get the right points up for the... Anyways. I'm sitting there getting prepared, and yet I still screw things up. Pony, Porsche, Piston Broke, and a team that doesn't start with a P, Crew Chief Motorsports. All within 20 points of each other. As I mentioned, Mountain Man Motorsports, if you combine Pony and Porsche, you get 1,113. They're 15 points short still of Mountain Man Motorsports. Congratulations on Mountain Man for literally doubling up the field. So, as we go from there, let me throw the points back up here. Make sure, yep, that was the accurate point. So I did get that part right. Rookie of the Year battle. Basically, it comes down to this. Here's how close this battle is. If the driver of Josh Dillon, I almost lost his name in my head. Josh Dillon shows up to race, which I'm going to go ahead and tell you this. He's here. He will win the Rookie of the Year battle just by starting this race. So let's hope he doesn't have any kind of computer issues in the next couple of seconds. If Chevrolet wins this race, they will win the Constructors' Championship. So we do have some things happening. Now, Matthew Weeks, all you have to do is finish 30th or better in this race, and he will win the overall championship because David Tooker has Tookered the last 2 weeks off. And basically has left us with the spot we're in now. So, all right, enough of the jokes. Let's get to racing, right? As the cars grid up for this 167-lap, 250-mile race that has Jonathan Cutlip. I've talked about this guy a little bit. He's been pretty sporty here these last few weeks in that 28 car. He's going to start on the pole, 33.604 second lap. Garrett Hess, another fast lap there for that 00. He'll start outside P2. James Hi-Ho Silvers and Casey Carrington, they'll take row number 2. Zach Rogers looking to break that no wins streak this season. He does not have a win after his championship in Season 3. He'll start on the inside of Jacob Feskinen. Austin Bloom, great qualifying effort for the chocolate bar. He'll start next to Alex Penn. Alex Carr will start there in 9th alongside Zach Nurnberger. Craig Martin, a 22 car, will start there alongside the 13 of James Kugler out of Georgia. Row number 7 is where you'll see Brad Delph and Justin Ray. Cordy McCorkle, Sean Foltz. They're in row number 8. Row 9, Chris Travis, who's subbing for Tyler Burden. They're in the 17th position next to Greg Carr. Kyle Hall and Steven Thompson, row 10. Row 11, Sean Cassidy. And there's Matthew Weeks, 22nd position. Not a good qualifying effort. Actually, he didn't even lay a time down. That's why he's 22nd. John Kreindler, Trey Holmes will start in row 12. Row 13, there is Josh Dillon. As he, once he takes the green flag here in just a second, he will be the rookie of the year. The pace car is about to pull off here. Justin Vandermerel, Nick Terrell, Garrett Austin, William Martin, Gareth McAllister, James Efall, which, by the way, we do get an extra bonus lap. Efall making his debut, I believe. He's going to be appearing in next season to be a rookie, I believe. I'll have to see if that's official or not. I think we're going to have a visit from Casey Carrington here in just a little bit in the booth, so... And then Larry Knoll, he'll be the 33rd and final starter here in the Miami 250. So it'll be 250 miles, as I mentioned, 167 laps. If you actually do the math, yes, those outside the country, that is 400 kilometers of racing on this very tricky 1.5 mile track. 18 degrees of banking down at the bottom, 19 in the middle, 20 at the top, and that means that you're going to see some wild racing. I said it a little bit ago during the GLSR race from Iowa. There's a reason why I feel like every track from Richmond up, except Arlington, needs that progressive banking. As you've seen one reason earlier today at Iowa with that great racing, you're about to see a second reason here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. The final race of the All-American ARCA Series, about to go green. We've already crowned a champion. We're going to crown a Rookie of the Year here in about 30 seconds. And we're going to find out who wins in 167 laps. Green from Miami. Our cameras, as always, presented by TrackCams22.com. You can check them out online. You can check them out in the iRacing forums and on Facebook. But their website is TrackCams22.com. You see them already 2 and 3 wide as they go down the back straightaway. Cutlip clearing for the lead. As long as I don't get spoiled. Oh, up in the wall, Alex Penn. He's already putting the wall plaid. As Cutlip leads lap 1. And you see him fan out 2, 3 wide. The bottom right now going to be the way to go. The top side going to eat the tires up just a little bit. I think eventually once you see the tires wear a little bit, that's when that top side comes in. Almost nobody spoils my game because I'll be watching it as soon as we're done with this broadcast. Alex Penn trying to do his best. Kyle Larson already in this race, or Tyler Reddick, whatever you want to call him. Trying to turn the race plaid already. Back here, Greg Carr going 3 wide. The Waffle House car crossed over there. A couple cars dancing a little bit. Matthew Weeks got to be careful. Yes, he still has a chance to lose the overall championship because he's got to finish 30th or better. There's still 3 cars, 31st, 32nd, 33rd, that he could still finish at. Oh, up in the wall to 22. Craig Martin and Larry Nolas crashed, unfortunately, towards the back. No caution, though, but Craig, unfortunately, these ARCA cars very sticky. And he, unfortunately, is put it in the wall and just lost about 20 spots, literally. As Larry Noel, unscheduled pit stop for him in a 29 car. Just checking here, the Canadian Tire number 89, Jacob Feskinen, who's already got himself a Homestead scuffle or whatever you want to call it here. I want to call it a stripe. Darlington might get pissed. But to the outside of Austin Bloom. Austin had a fantastic starting spot for that rookie there in the 7th position. Oh, easy, easy. Silver's getting loose there off 4. Five laps in, I'm thinking that somebody put the wrong drink name on the 17 car. Or is he going like old school, like NASCAR video games where like it put the driver's name instead of the alcohol drink on it? Is that what he's doing here? Instead of the Miller Lite car, you had the Rusty Wallace car. 14 car, Brad Delph, the fast in all colors, outside to 59. Of Sean Foltz, Matthew Weeks has joined that battle as he's already worked his way up some 9 spots from his starting position. That's about the 4th car I've seen already do the whole, hey, I forgot to turn into turn 3, scrape the wall trick. It's very easy to do at this track. I've actually done it before too. Going to open the door for the 88 Trey Holmes there, the 99 in front of him of Kreidler, as we're 7 laps in here. You see how much off throttle time you are around this track. I believe, I have to look at the numbers of this track, but I believe that all 4, the corners and the straightaways, are actually the same distance. I have to check on that. I know Atlanta used to be like that. As up front, by the way, Zach Rogers, and that Napa Auto Parts number 4 has gone past Cutlip for the lead, so Rogers leading here. Second leader of the day. Carrington's starting to put pressure up there on that 28 car. Let's show you the pass for the lead here a second ago. Goes up the high side here and just carries that momentum right there through that middle groove. You see now he's pulled away to a 0.3 of a second lead over Cutlip, and then AC Carrington there in the 3rd position. Garrett Hess, that rookie, trying to do it himself there in the 4th position. Alex Penn, who, as I mentioned earlier, has been high, wide, and handsome. And doing a lot of that. Scraping that outside up. Can somebody tell Mr. Tyler Reddick there in the 30 car to stay off the wall? Let's go back here to 16th. Good little battle here. 14 outside Delph, the inside lane. That's the 87 of Kyle Hall. And in the middle car there, that's the 67 of Ryan Strunk. You see the lap time's already fallen off a good half a second in the first 11 laps. I would say that it's pretty accurate, but Homestead right now, if you have, what, 10 laps on this track, you're losing about a half a minute. Two-tenths of a second right now separating the lead. McCorkle getting a pretty good view of this battle, so is Greg Carr there in that 25. We ride with the crew chief's corner, number 2 car. One of 3 teams battling for that, or 4 teams, I should say, battling for that second place in team points. Hearing rumors that Larry Knoll has already been spotted trying to leave the tunnel and heading for the Keys. And out of this race. When you have a car that can get out here and race and run multiple grooves out here, that's what makes this car fun. That's what makes this track fun. I've seen a couple races here at Homestead this season where the cars were literally stuck on the white line. And it's like, all right, that's not the fun Homestead. This is the fun Homestead. Biggest movers in this race so far. Weeks up 11 spots, just took the 11th spot away from Justin Ray, right there top side. John Kreidler up 10 spots, Trey Holmes up 10 spots. So all 3 of them following each other right there through the field. Seems like a lot of people live on that east coast of Florida, huh? In this league. Larry, Kyle, Alex goes to school on the east coast. So if you guys want to sign up for this All-American ARCA Series Season 5, you got to live on the east coast of Florida. That's prerequisite. Nurnberger there in the 8th position is up. Brad Delph, I think that is on the wall back there. Nope, Sean Foltz. They both have identical blue and white cars. As Thompson there on his inside, so good stuff so far here at Homestead, doing exactly what this track likes to do. Put on good green flag racing. Again, 85% fuel. And let's see if I do the math really quickly in my head here. I'm being from Florida. That's the kind of math I know. 53 laps or so should be about the fuel run. 50 to 53. Jonathan Cutlip started on pole. Zach Rogers, who won the Season 3 championship, looking to finally put his name in victory lane in season number 4. Kind of spread out a little bit. Casey Carrington's hanging on there. 0.6 of a second there in 3rd. Garrett Hess in the 4th position. Just looking over some of the stats from this season, there's some things that kind of grab my attention as we continue into this run, 18 laps in. And the really interesting thing here is how dominant Matthew Weeks has been this season. As I talked about, Matthew winning Season 4's championship. If he finishes in the top 10 tonight, he will have one race that he did not finish in the top 10, and that would actually be the race he did not race in, and somebody else filled in for him, if I remember correctly, in that race. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Casey, but I believe that's how that went. Just going off the top of my head here. Entering this race, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different winners. going into this race. Let's see if we get a 6 different winner, which would be about 50%. So that's pretty good. As Nürnberger, look at this battle back here as Alex Penn has fallen back into the hands of Matthew Weeks, and Nürnberger and Austin Bloom was hanging out here in 10th, and then Kreidler is up to 11th. Larry Knoll again taking his car behind the wall, so for Weeks, only 2 more spots that he can afford to have fall out, and he will be the champion of the overall season. Again, 2 different championships, one for each specific season. There was season 3 earlier in the season and then season 4. And then there's a combined championship throughout the season. Really interesting way that's done. Not the first time I've seen it done that way. And I think it's a kind of cool format because it allows those who maybe can't run all the races or whatever, you can still maybe compete for that. Somebody's scraping up the wall there. James Silvers, about to call him John. Long John. Trey Holmes back there, 15th position for him. Alex running the, I believe it's a Porsche, right? And he's got the actual Porsche number on the front hood of his car. I think I've just noticed that for the first time. The whole WeatherTech number 30. The only thing he's missing is that automated light that's on the side of the cars. I don't know if it's on there anymore, but it used to be. That would tell you like what position you were in. As he takes the 9th spot away from Silvers. Breaking news, Larry Knoll is back on track. Apparently he just ran over to a Pollo Tropical and got himself some chicken or something. And back on track, the 33rd place position in the Coca-Cola Texaco number 29. Don't want to be offensive here to Larry, but he is driving like a Florida guy right now. Far left lane, slow. If you don't believe me, ask Alex Penn when he went through on the east coast of Florida a couple days ago. Trey Holmes catching the 9th place position here of James Silvers. Meanwhile, Trey's blinking out, so let's go back here to Nürnberger, to Pony Express 31. Look at Penn getting all loose there. That's basically a product of the multi-banking. It's a Porsche, by the way, not a... yeah, it was Porsche, I said earlier. Basically, he's crossing over the seams, sideways and sliding, and it's causing the car to get loose on him. You want to try to drive this car straight off the corner, but look at him slide up the track, and it's causing the car to de-wedge as he goes up the banking. Larry unfortunately joins the track 20 laps down as there goes the 67 by on the outside, Ryan Strunk. Ryan up 14 positions from 26 to 12. Carrying that momentum after that Phoenix race, I think it was last week, where he had that great finish. Up front, Rogers has not gone away. Cutlip right there, 2/10 back. Carrington only 7/10 back. Not sure how much of that's the draft maybe playing a role here, but not seeing much separation up there at the front. How about 3 wide down the backstretch? Strunk. That guaranteed rate number 67. A little tail whip there, but passes both of them. And yeah, he's been very fast. I don't know if it's the whole in-race green flag reporter thing that's causing him to be fast. I don't know. I mean, we do know we collected a win this season with the in-race reporter. Thank you, Casey. And he hasn't won since, so maybe that's a thing that you ought to think about. I mean, there's racing all over this track right now. You got this battle here for the 10th position. You got Greg Carr back here for 17th with Brad Delph. You got William Martin, Josh Dillon, the Rookie of the Year there. This is all the way back at 23rd. They're side by side as Nurnberger comes to pit road. Not sure if this is a scheduled stop or not. 29 laps in, car looks clean. He's not the only one coming to pit road here. James Krugler on pit road. I'm caught off guard by this. You only get 3 sets of tires. A 15-1 for Nurnberger. What? Nurnberger. It's been one of those days. I had a hard time talking in the other broadcast, too. It's kind of weird. And no, I've not had anything to drink yet. Extra 4th set of tires. Okay. Thank you, Casey. Appreciate that. So right before the race there, the race director of the series, who is unnamed, gave them a 4th set of tires. So now the stop sort of makes sense. I still kind of confused him pitting that early for tires. That would mean he's going 30, 30, 30 likely, which would be at 120 he'd be out of tires unless... Yeah, because he would do one more 30-lap stint and then do a 50. I'm a little baffled by this one. Now, I do know this. I'll say this. In NIS races I've run here and at certain tracks, I have done that 30-lap strategy before with 100% fuel. Because at that time, you still had unlimited tires. So you could come in at 30 and 60 and... Casey, I think you blinked there. 90 and go on and so forth. I'll have to check. Oh, hold on, Austin. Nice save there on the 48's part. I'm looking around, make sure it's not my computer going nuts here. Because we all know sometimes... anything can happen to somebody. And here comes Strunk. Look at this outside of Alex's car. Got a lot of weight on your shoulders. Rewind back there. Who is that in the... Is that Van der Morel running the Dale Jr. Oreo car? Oh, up in the wall is the 38 of Justin Ray, and McCorkle follows him. National Guard. 88 of Trey Holmes inside of Austin Bloom. So, yeah, we've seen some great racing here in the first 34 laps. And one thing we have seen, you go back to the Talladega race, which was, what, about a month ago or so? There was that new rule instituted about cautions. Basically, caution number 1, you got an EOL. Caution number 2, we'll see you next week. And that seems to have changed a little bit of the way the league is raced. I mean, the only race really since then that there's been a little bit of struggle, if you will be the Phoenix race. And even then, I mean, it's Phoenix on iRacing, which can be a handful. But here you're back again tonight on a bigger track, and you're seeing the racing be pretty good. I mean, you're seeing tons of side-by-side racing, the track spreading out. I mean, look at this mess here. Car chops the nose off of Nurnberger. I don't know if he realizes he's got fresh tires behind him. See, James Silvers, though, has fallen all the way back to, what, 16th position? And then, yeah, Alex Carr right there in front of him. Not Alex Carr. I keep Alex Penn in front of him there in the 30 car. Who was starting to kind of fall back a little bit. So this is where you got to be careful. You got to keep the car out of the wall. You got to keep the tires under you. You still got another 15 laps, really, before you pit. Now, with 4 sets of tires, I could see people pitting at lap 40 and getting tires, because then you go 40, 80, 120, and you still have a set left at the end. Kyle Hall on pit road in the 87 car. We ride with Vanda Morel in the Dale Jr. Mobile. Now, if he and the 25 make contact here, it's the perfect waffle. An Oreo waffle. Lap time's off about a second or so now. Looks like, or at least Vanda Morel ran a 34.3 in his best lap. As you see, he's just run a 35.3 last time by. Once again, Penn is just getting really loose off the corner. And you know what I think Alex is doing here? And I know this race isn't technically live, but one thing I'm catching Alex doing is he's really driving the car hard off the corners. And it's causing him to slide up the track, like right there. And that's where the car's snapping loose. He's so tight from carrying too much speed off that the car wants to spin out. I'm about to send pit road investigators down, but James Kugler, I've just noticed, is 7 laps down now, so I'm not sure what happened to the 13 car. Watch how Alex just kind of dives it into the corner here. He's getting back to the throttle right there. Back end's getting loose. And why? He's just walking the car up the track, and the back end gets loose right there again. One of those, you got to put an egg underneath that throttle. Oh, Waffle House car in the wall. Great car. He went to the pizza. The spotter was eating ice cream. So Zach Rogers leads. He took the lead early in this race and is kind of driven away a little bit. 4/10 on Cutlip. They've both gotten away from Carrington. Hess about 5 seconds back. And then Matthew Weeks continues the march up to 5th position. As he looks to lock up the championship for the season. Now, Matthew is running a line right there that is kind of an old school line when it comes to iRacing. You know, back before we had some of the dynamic tracks that we have now, some of the way you would get around these progressive banking tracks like Las Vegas or Homestead is you literally put the car between the seam. You put the left sides on one side, the right sides on the other, and what it does is de-wedge the car. So if you're tight, it actually will loosen the car up and allow you to go through the corner a little better. Let's see if he can get the left sides down. He's right on it. There you go. And you see how the car kind of got in gall there for a second. As Feskin and Chris Travis on pit road here. So these are the guys that are going to do the 40-80 strategy, I believe, here. Still got about 10 laps before the actual pit stops. James Efall on pit road. Is that a... I'm trying to see from far distance. That is a Steve Park paint scheme. The one car back there, the Pennzoil. Veskinen pulls away. Austin Bloom, Ryan Strunk on pit road. Again, no resets in these cars. They do have the extra set of tires. Austin in for 4 tires and 2 cans of Hershey's chocolate. There's your top 2 right there. Rogers has not been able to shake the 28 at all. If Chevrolet wins this race tonight, then they are the champions constructor-wise of this series, and they'll get a free bowl of ice cream out of their freezer, I guess. Something with me and ice cream all of a sudden. Alex Carr's on pit road. Greg Carr's on pit road, and Efall's on pit road, but he's been there for a minute or two. Not sure what's going on with his pit crew in his debut race here. Garrett Austin on pit road in a 34. Everybody pulls away here. So right now we have 1st through 17th are the only cars not to pit. And I say that as William Martin comes to pit road now in the 58 car. Filet Mignon watching on the Facebook page. Appreciate him watching. And there's no mistake about that. Filet Mignon. Rogers and Cutlip are pretty quick. As you see them coming up on the 22, another car that kind of got up into the wall a little bit ago. Here's your Rookie of the Year, Josh Dillon, looking underneath Brad Delph. That was a very tight battle throughout the season. You had Tyler Burton, who's not here tonight. He was a part of that battle. As Zach Rogers, the leader, comes to pit road, lap number 48. I would think at this point... Oh, that's going to make Telder happy. Four tires and fuel for the Napa car. I think he was telling me earlier about some kind of parlay he was running or something, and it was like $1,200, and he had TCU, and I'm like, Anyways. Here comes Cutlip in. I like that pink on that car. As the 28 is in. Four tires and fuel for the Z-Line Camry. What? A certain Jorts school may have lost to a certain school with no fans? What? How does that work? Now you got me thinking, Jorts school? What? Long as there's one game I don't want to know about, and most people in here should know what that game is. So as long as you don't go that route, I'm good. As Carrington leads now, is going to probably run this tank all the way out. It's going to cost him probably a little bit of track position to some of these cars that short pitted, but in the long run should be faster, I would think, as Trey Holmes comes to pit road now. Certain school with no fans. School with Jorts. I'm going to think about this one. I'm assuming you mean a brand of jorts, right? I'm confused now. Anyways, John Kreindler on pit road. You know, because when I think of jorts, I think of that Jordan Taylor race car driver. That is his little podcast thing he does. As Kreidler, Silvers, McAllister now on pit road with McCorkle. And now here come the leaders. Casey is in now. Matthew Weeks coming in. So this is the round of pit stops where everybody else is running their tank out. So we'll see how much cycling around we get here as all these cars come in. Gareth McAllister there in the 888 leaving. And there's going to be the eventual leader right there. Zach Rogers back to the front. And he'll have 3.8 seconds over Jonathan Cutlip. How did he pull that off? Well, simple. He pitted 1 lap earlier, so that gave him... Oh, caution is out. Caution. And it is for the 59 of Sean Foltz. Let's see what happens to the 59. Actually got the 58 there with him. Oh, and he hooked him. A little contact there. A little argy-bargy. Hold the brakes down, Sean. Hold the brakes down. There you go. 58 kind of came off the corner shallow there. And 59 thought he had more room coming up the track, and the two meet in the middle. One more again here. Watch the 58 kind of hold the 59 down a little bit. And you know what? He's getting loose, too, at the same time. Man, that was a hard lick for both of them. You got me confused with that one. Anyways, I digress. Now you see the AAA getting a lucky dog. And this caution definitely makes things interesting here now. Because I go looking for Carrington and those guys. Carrington's going to be 4th now after that. But he's going to have a fresh set of tires pretty much on his car. Garrett Hess there in 6th. See, with you being a Tennessee person, I'm kind of running that way now. Like, towards maybe SEC school or something. I know this is the week where, like, most people play like nobodies. I know Georgia played Kentucky, or is playing Kentucky. I think that game's tonight, actually. Alabama's playing somebody. I think Sister Mary the... Never mind. Who's Florida playing? I could see that one being it. So Rogers, Cutlip, Feskinen, Carrington, and Bloom leading this race with Hess, Thompson, Carr, Holmes, and Terrell. Watch the 8 cars last lap. He was under caution. What, are you wreck under caution? Oh dear. Somebody's tried to split the Oreo in half. What happened here? Is this under caution? No, they're under green. Did he just make me back up like 5 laps? Oh, look out! Oh, or is this what brought the caution out? Oh, no! Wait a minute here. All right, I don't really know what the reason was for the caution now. Oh, I hate when that happens. That's actually part of the reason I don't dip cookies in milk anymore. I always hate when the cookie would split apart down at the bottom. They're like, you know, I'll eat a cookies and cream milkshake all day. All right, what lap was I on now that I had to back up like 10 laps? There we go. Get 1 to go. Here we go. We'll get to green next time. Bye. Count to 5 is the trick. See, and we're too young to recognize this. Casey is like, you go ask any of our parents if they're, you know, obviously still alive. I know my mom's still alive, but you go ask any adult who's like in their 50s or 60s and older, and you go ask them what a double stuffed Oreo is, or a mint Oreo, or a vanilla Oreo, or whatever that are out there are, and they're gonna look at you stupid like there's only one kind of Oreo. And that's the thing. I really don't drink milk anymore. I drink chocolate milk all the time, and it's almond milk because I got a little lactose issue. All right, going to be coming to the green flag here, lap 58. After the first caution for either Justin Vandermeer and William, or in the 22 of Craig Martin, or the 58 and 59. Not sure. One of those 2 wrecks brought the caution out. Here we go, back to green. I think it was the 58-59 one, because the other one I noticed they were still green. Good restart there for Rogers. 3 wide up the middle goes the 88. And you're still going to see a little discrepancy in tires here because nobody came to pit road. So you still got some cars that pitted around the lap 48 mark, and then you got some cars that pitted around lap 50 and 55. So, and this back here is a mess. Oh, Nürnberger's loose. And it's still a mess back here. Look at this. 36 trying to shoot the middle. Kyle Hall there on the bottom. Little contact. I've never had a Doritos waffle, so please don't. Ooh. 12 car getting loose on the bottom down there. Rogers pulling away already a half second on Cutlip. Feskinen up to the 3rd spot. Good little run for the 89. So far, the 9 up there in 4th. The Carrington Hess there 5th. And you got, what, 3, 4 of the top 7 rookies right now. That's impressive. Alex Reddick up here in the 30 car. Oh, and Austin gets loose to get off too. That bump almost bit somebody again. There's a very bad bump over there in turn 2. If you hit it right, it'll send you packing. Blew him loose again. Well, he's trying the Aaliyah trick there. First you don't succeed, try again. Cars dancing everywhere. Just a little over 100 laps to go. Lights are on. The old Houdini song, one of my favorites. Freaks come out at night. These boys have come out racing here. Matthew Weeks back here now in the 14th position. He became a victim of that last caution, as he was up in the top 5 when he came down pit road and lost all that track position. I think these guys might settle down for a second finally. You see Carrington has gone by Feskinen for 3rd. How about Garrett Hess there in that 00 looking good? As I made the joke earlier, he's going to do it himself here. 4th position, if he can clear. Not yet. Should mention Kugler has taken his car behind the wall. Larry Knoll 20 laps down, so basically we're down to one more car falls out of this race and the championship goes to Matthew Weeks on the season. I just saw Strunk get all kinds of sideways off too. Man, these cars are dancing out here right now. Let me go catch my nose. It just started running. I'm literally like, what in the world's going on over here? I think part of that is this track's getting faster, and with it having less and less grip, it invites these cars to try to drivers to try to drive the car harder, and it's causing them to go dancing like Alex is there every lap. I'm sure his right rear was probably at like 10% last after his first stop. There's Zach Rogers, 0.8 of a second up on Cutlip already. So whatever adjustments he's made to his racing line, because there's really not much you can adjust in car because it's a fixed setup. But whatever he's done has helped out here. Pull away to an 0.8 of a second lead on Cutlip, and then Carrington's about a second back from the 28. Of course, Carrington went in the Nashville race earlier this season at his home track. Oh boy, 3 wide. Alex Penn's up there 3 wide by himself. Good clean racing. 88 chops to those at a 17 a little bit there as Feskinen going backwards. Delph and Dylan battling here. McCorkle's back here also. I mean, it's, like I said, it's just trying to catch what racing where. Everybody's racing everybody side by side here. Less than 100 laps to go now. And we're still not to halfway yet. Still got 10 laps before that point gets here. Again, this is 250 miles, which is right up there with the longest distance of the season. Talladega being the other 250-mile race. When you get a track like this, though, that produces great racing, you can't complain. I'm loving it. I am sitting back enjoying the racing we're seeing. Hopefully you're enjoying the broadcast tonight. If you are, hit the subscribe button. And you can be a part of future broadcasts. I see I'm, what, 2 more away from 800? It's funny, the first, like, year, I went from, like, 0 to 600, like that. And it's taken me a whole nother year and almost a half to get to 800. Gets me worried sometimes. Am I becoming stale? Is that what it is? Am I boring? Do I need to start dropping bombs on here or something like that? Is that what I gotta start doing? Say words like, and maybe this. Is that what I gotta start doing? Start taking my shirt off and put a camera on me? Is that what I gotta do? Hold on, Ryan. Oh, we got a little up top there. 1 away, $7.99. That's probably the problem. I probably got, like, stale or whatever. Plus, oh, hold on, Feskinen. Problems. Here's Weeks working his way back up. He's definitely passed the most cars tonight. The hell's that word mean? Strunk was literally laying the right rear on the wall there. Good way to get side force. Oh, around goes the 99. Look out. That's going to hurt. Inside wall he goes. Keeps it straight, and he was off the track, so no caution. But that left front, yeah, that thing's done. Might or might not have a broken item or two in that car. That right there is a product of this multi-groove racing. You get one car with the momentum top side. And unfortunately, the other car slides up and you meet and might went back a little too far here. Let's jump up. 73. Let's go to 75 here. Yeah, it looks like the wreck's already happened at this point. Yeah, there he is off the pace. So let's do an old school rewind here. Yeah, John is yeah, he was doing a good job too. He worked his way up through the field. I know what he started like back towards mid-pack. He started 23rd. And you see he has no sponsors on that car, so he's literally towing his car with a Mazda Miata and puts it in the inside wall there, and that's going to hurt. He and his pit crew all labor, or he and his pit crew who are all labor ready people. Unfortunately, gonna go behind the wall probably here, or at least sit on pit road for a while. That left front's done. So there's Zach. 1.4 seconds on Cutlip now. Carrington 2.2 back. Yeah, maybe Santa will bring him a new car for Christmas. McCorkle, a little slide job. Homestead style here on the 38. Nothing wrong with a little slide job for 15th. So we're about 5 laps from the halfway point. And Rogers has been pretty dominant here so far. He took the lead early in this race and has not looked back as he looks to go to victory lane. Hold on there, Justin. As I always like to do, because with me being the first season that the Captain Esports Network has covered this All-American ARCA series, I like to kind of, while the race goes on, look back at some of the previous seasons here and see what has happened. Of course, last time we were at Homestead Miami Speedway, surprisingly, Mr. Eckert didn't win. Seems like every other race I did this in, Eckert went to victory lane. It was actually won by Christopher Heller. Mike Husby finished second. Elliot Henderson, who runs over at the Sim 500, finished third, and then Eckert. And then a name that I bet nobody in this league thinks I could probably get it right, but I'm going to try first try. Ready? William Barbagalata finished fifth in this race. That was last season. Ah. That'd be good to see. More competition here. That'd be cool. That's the only trip that the league has made so far here to Homestead. Oh, by the way, there's a really cool, I don't know if you want me talking about this yet or not, Casey. Maybe I'll bring it up to you when you come join me in the booth sometime here this year. Hello from Aussie land. Yes. Holy hell, what time is it over there? 4 o'clock here. You guys are like 2 days ahead of us, aren't you? Brad Delph, 11th position there. Kyle Hall's worked his way up to 10th. Ah, all right. Well, let's get your lazy self up here then. I mean, you have access to the room. I mean, geez. Or I guess down here. The waiting room's above me. 8 a.m. in Australia right now. What's for breakfast this morning? I don't know. What does Australia like to eat for breakfast? Just curious. I've never thought about that. Interesting question, I guess, to think about there. But, anywho. So as we get to a green flag run here, we get past the halfway point. I'm going to go in here to Discord real quickly and put my mic to voice activated so now you can hear my voice without pushing a button. But the boss man running in third right now, Casey Carrington, Nashville winner, comes and joins me. Wants to do his best Steve Letarte. Sir, how are you? Hey, let me turn your other mic on here. Just realized. Go ahead, you can talk now. Why is it not working? Hang on, I'm working on it. For some reason this morning I go to do the first broadcast and my mic wasn't. I'm like, what in the world? Hey, good job. Hate when that happens.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think you're going to be. Let's see. You're coming through my headset, which would be the HyperX. So that'd be that one there. And now you should be able to hear.
Hello, hello, hello.
There he is. Yes.
Okay, there we go. I already hit the wall and got like 10 seconds of damage trying to sort this issue out as you see me going to the corner there.
It happens. So, your impression here, 14 races, obviously, great season. You found your way to victory lane somehow. And
somehow.
Just saying. I mean, you tried a strategy.
I'm agreeing with you. Somehow.
I mean, you tried a strategy that, like, multiple others tried and failed miserably, but they didn't realize you did it on a concrete track.
Yeah, I kind of benefited, like that was a continuing benefit from that because not only did I win the race with that strategy, I also made up some spots in the races after that by people imitating the strategy and failing. So
It works. So, your impression, put the owner hat on here for a second as I learned that somebody eats only a plain croissant for breakfast because he's in a hurry. I didn't know people from Australia were the same as us. Kind of thinking about that. Anyways, your impression of the season. Uh-oh. I think Casey ran. Did he go get a croissant? Anyways, we'll talk to him when he comes back. Oh, issues for Jacob Feskinen. And caution is out for the second time. Feskinen's gone around. After starting up there in the front. Jacob was running 23rd. Not sure what's happened to him throughout the race. And now Austin Bloom with issues. He just towed back to pit road. As per tradition, anytime I bring somebody up here to chat, caution comes out. It's kind of weird. Let's see what happens here. Austin up there in the top side. They're going to do a split on the 34, and Austin gets loose over the seam into the 34. And those three hit hard. Garrett Austin, the third car involved. And once again, the seams of Homestead cause issues and bring the third caution, or the second caution now, I should say. Watch real closely. The 48's going to get this run. He's driving it very hard into the corner here. Gets up there alongside, and you see, gets right up on that seam, and it just comes around on him. Great miss by Greg Carr. And caution comes out for the second time here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Shout out to Craig Martin, who's watching the race while gymnastics is going on. That's a good way to get in trouble from your wife and little one, so I'd be careful with that, Craig. Just going to put that out there. Yeah. But best of luck to you on that one. And a pace. This just shows you, like, it's weird. On Wednesday nights, I cover the GLSR League. And they have an admin who comes up in the booth and does, like, spontaneous spots with me, like a pit reporter. And it's become a joke where every time he comes up in the booth, a caution comes out, right? And so it's become almost a joke now. So now, Casey comes up, caution comes out, and he loses power at his house. There is literally some kind of jinx going on here with people coming into the booth mid-broadcast that aren't racing, by the way, because as we saw with the mid-race reporting, that thing worked. That's hilarious. That's all I'm going to say to that. That is great. So funny. All right, so caution is out. We got leaders on pit road here. What's the old line? You lose. Good day to you. You can always join on your phone, like I do. All right, should be 4 tires and fuel for everybody here. And Rogers going to win the race off pit road. Race for second was pretty close there. They're going to give it to Carrington. Wow. And one car decides to stay out. Gareth McAllister in the Outback car. I'm not sure if he's going to come in here now to come to pit road or if he's going to stay out on 36-lap tires. I would hope he does the latter. But either way, going to try a strategy here. Stephen Thompson. Looks like Larry Knoll maybe going to... Nope, Knoll's going to come to pit road. So Thompson's going to take a wave around here. And Gareth is going to stay out. That really is going to hurt the feelings of Feskinen and Sean Foltz. Because they were probably hoping he would go to pit road and they would get a wave around. But now the wave around is going to go to the 24. of Stephen Thompson. That's going to be it. Hey, that steak guy's talking again. Hey, Craig Martin, my newest friend on Discord. Congratulations. So what I was going to bring up to, I was going to, one, ask him about the review of the season, but the other thing I was going to bring up was this announcement that was made on Discord. I think it was yesterday? This whole All-American, or I guess it's called Aaron. Aaron 1 and Aaron 2. I mean, I when I first saw it, I thought it was like a game of Twister or something, or not a game of Twister, the movie Twister. When you had Dorothy and Dorothy 2 and Dorothy 3 and Dorothy whatever number they went up to. What is your prize? Go make a hamburger on the grill. All right, pace car lights are off. The 888 going to lead this race. Gareth McAllister, Zach Rogers, Casey Carrington, Jonathan Cutlip, and Matthew Weeks, your top 5. Weeks, who's passed the most cars in this race, coming from the back almost twice in this race. Trey Holmes up to 6th, up 18 spots. James Silvers, Ryan Strunk, who's also up 18 spots. Kyle Hall and Brad Delph, your top 10 right now. Actually, as I think about it, hamburger does sound really good right now. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on. Whoa, 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 whoa. No, no, no. And Hawaiian pizza, that first things first, has pineapple on it. That, we just had this conversation like 6 weeks ago. No. Poutine I'm okay with. I understand that tradition. It's Canadian. Hawaiian pizza. Problem. As green flag comes out, McAllister spins the tires a little bit, jumps to the bottom. That could have been bad. Oh, and around goes the 88 and Weeks goes into the wall. Oh, this is a big one. Garrett Carr ends up on the road course, and others spin around. And caution comes out. You did the right thing there, Gareth. And moving to the inside there. That's exactly the right thing to do there. A lot of people don't do that. And I didn't hit restart events, so I got to go all the way back and do this manually. No. Go. I dare you to go on Discord and ask people of how many they like that in the league. You might have somebody throw something at you. See what happens here. So it starts actually with the 88 gets loose up there. And again, remember, colder tires on these cars here. 88 enters the corner here. And this is an interesting move on his part. Watch how he enters here. Because this is, I don't want to call it a rookie move because he's probably ran Homestead a ton on iRacing. But one thing that's very hard to do is when you enter a corner on colder tires is to cross over mid-corner to the bottom. And you see the back end's already coming around as he goes down to the next banking and so on and so forth. That car is just going to come around and nowhere to go. Silvers is going to get in the back of Weeks and send him packing. McAllister nowhere to go. McCorkle's going to get maybe through. Dylan gets tagged, 14. Adelph goes head on into the wall. Alex Penn's getting loose while driving through it. Oh, 00 comes in there with a, you know. Penn gets through there. McCorkle gets through. That's a big one. Let's go on board with a couple of cars here, so I have to rewind all the way back again. Let's go on board with Garrett Hess and E00 here. I'll let you guys decide this one. There's the checkup from the spinning of the fourth gear start, we'll call it. Much like the flight simulator, Casey's telling me what to do from chat. I'm going to pick on him for that. Let's go on board with the 2. From the roof, apparently. And his car didn't want to shift. He gets loose even. Alrighty then. That's a close shave, I'd say, huh? One other car I do want to go on board with here. And let's go to the 30 of Alex Penn. As you know, Alex has been plenty loose in this race. Get loose on his own everywhere. Wow. The third caution comes out. And I don't know if I'm going to call him the in-race reporter here or not, but he's back. You okay now?
I think so. The attempts on my life and on my ability to speak on broadcast have failed, so I think I'm okay. You got me?
The main question is, did you pay your power bill?
Oh yeah, no, I just I was in the middle of a sentence there, and all of a sudden everything went quiet and dark, and then I hear a boom outside in the distance. So yeah. Anyway,
last time
hey,
you heard that, wasn't there a tornado?
Good timing though, because I would have been going on about how proud I was of the league right before a massive wreck on the restart. So I guess
True.
It had its way of working out.
Yeah, it does. Last time you heard something like that, didn't you have a tornado come through at like midnight?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Anyways,
We'll
yeah.
go with that.
So yeah, you were starting to say league impressions season 4, pretty successful one, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I was really happy with the season. Looking back in the whole, obviously there were a couple rough patches, a couple bad races, but I mean, you look back at the second half of the season, I think it was in 7 races, I think we had 5 really good ones and 2 that were kind of eh. But obviously last week was a week to forget for me. One of my first DNFs in the league in probably close to a year. But as an owner perspective, I mean, it's so good to see so many new drivers. I mean, obviously Ryan Strunk, Jonathan Cutlip, Josh Dillon, the rookie of the year. I mean, so many new guys that came into the league this season and that stuck through kind of like I said, the rough patches and really got to see the good, fun racing that we've had here in the second half of the season. I couldn't be much happier.
And of course, season 5 is going to be coming, I assume, in February or January, somewhere in that range. What are we looking forward to there, if any previews we can give?
Looking forward to kind of a return to form. Hopefully, we can continue on this momentum that we've had here towards the end of the season. Obviously, we're looking to add a few more drivers. Obviously, I think we're going to have some returning from previous seasons. Obviously, the worst kept secret in the garage, you could say, Mike Husby will be returning full time next season if he can get his computer fixed. He had a hard drive issue that kept him out of these last 2 races, but yeah, he'll be teaming up with me and a couple others. We'll announce that. I'll be reforming my team, and like I said, some rumor and innuendo that some former teams that were, race winning contenders and race winners themselves might be returning for next season. Once again, I'll let them announce that on their own time, but I'm really looking forward to next season. Obviously, I'm going to enjoy the off season, have some time away, but I'm definitely already kind of looking towards February and getting excited for next season. Going back to a lot of the tracks that we kind of skipped out on this season. You haven't had the chance to broadcast us at some of the places like Rockingham or
Hmm.
Atlanta and such as that. So kind of be going back to that spring season format, and I'm definitely looking forward to it overall.
Any changes that you can announce that we could be seeing, like maybe rule wise or points wise or anything like that? Or are we looking the same?
Yeah, it's going to be probably about 80% the same. We are looking to change a little, make a little tweaks to the points format. I guess maybe the biggest change is we are going to be capping the fields. It looks like next season, 36 cars at the big tracks, and then at tracks a mile or shorter, we'll probably cap it at maybe 30, maybe 32, just to try to avoid some of the shenanigans we saw at like a
Well,
Richmond or a Phoenix.
next person says the word shenanigans. I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking about that when I
Yeah.
when I chose that word, but
So, who's Aaron?
Aaron, it's a mysterious figure that is entered our lives and then left it very quickly. Quite possibly the most legendary driver in All American ARCA, but we wouldn't know because Mr. Aaron has never run a race. But no, I mean I'm really looking forward to that too. Coming up in January, the All American Race of Notables. Just a, kind of an off-season fun series. It's not really supposed to be taken that seriously. We'll be doing some fun stuff like maybe some IROC kind of themed races out of Michigan, maybe even a dirt race. People have been begging me for ever for us to run a dirt race, and
Knoxville.
Joseph is Joseph has always threatened to boycott and to not show up. So I figure we'll probably name it in his honor. Maybe do it Enduro Derby style, no cautions, no damage, just the last man standing, and yeah, we'll have some fun with that. That'll be coming up. It'll be back-to-back Friday nights in January, kind of wedged in between New Year's and the Daytona 24 for iRacing. So that'll kind of keep us busy, and that kind of, I don't want to call it a long off season because everybody talks about NASCAR's off season being so short, but we're kind of 3 months on, 3 months off in this league.
Right. So the other question I gotta have: what is the definition of a notable in this league?
Well, originally when we started it, after the first season, we only had like 3 or 4 winners and obviously only one champion, so I couldn't call it the Race of Champions.
Right.
And so it was gonna be All American Race of Champions as we come here to the restart, but it was gonna be the All American Race of Champions. I was like AA Rock. I was like, that's almost like AA Ron, the old Keen Field bit. And so I was like, okay, I gotta come up with an in. And I was like, Race of Notables. There we go. And that just kind of stuck. And then obviously the AA Ron bit is kind of about as old as the car we race. So I figured it's time to retire that meme and just move to calling it Aaron.
That's funny. Well, we go back green here. Zach Rogers is leading. Some guy named Casey's second. Cutlip there third. And here he comes. So you're inside already. Obviously, the racing we've seen here. You've been up there in the top 3 all night. But as we see you get kind of dancy there in the middle of 3 and 4, that is a product of this track and something we've seen a lot of here in this race. Is this car getting very, very loose at the beginning of a run?
Yeah, it starts out super. I mean, I almost want to call it wrecking loose, especially off the corner at the start, and then it tightens up like mad after about 20 or 30 laps. So it's like I was telling everybody, people were complaining in the practice about how loose the setup was, and I was like, just stick with it for about 20 or 30 laps, and then you'll be begging for that looseness to come back. But yeah, it was definitely tough conditions, especially because I had done some practice throughout the week, and most of it had been at the time the session starts when the sun's still up and the track a lot warmer. So I was ready to be running that Alex pin line right there and be going to the wall after about 20 laps. And I mean, you can see me try it here probably 6 or 7 times during the course of the race, just trying to move up top out of desperation to try to make some time
Right.
up on the 28 and the 4, and just I couldn't make anything work. There was so much more grip on the bottom compared to during the day that, yeah, I was pretty much looking like Alex right there up in the wall.
Did Alex say anything about the setup getting tight? Because all I've seen him is loose everywhere.
Well, I mean, I guess if you drive it up against the wall every single lap in every corner, then maybe it's going to get loose. Yeah, I told him during practice, I was like, man, you don't want to be on the top in 3 and 4, and you'll like the radius is different, I suppose, and it's a lot tighter. And he didn't listen to me early on. Obviously, right there, he was going back down to the bottom. I guess he'd kind of learned that I maybe knew what I was talking about, but. Yeah, it was tough conditions. I was trying to rip the bottom a lot, and it just, like you said, it was so loose that you
Right.
really couldn't make up time early. And then once the tires burn off, you can't really hold it on the bottom. So I think what Jonathan and Zach were doing really well was running that bottom seam and just kind of hooking the left side tires on it. That helps keep the car looser later in the run, and they were able to just kind of, they were in a class of their own for most of the race there as I was chasing after them.
Just watched Kyle Hall get around Mr. Strunk there, Kyle, having, I think, one of the better runs this season in that 87 car. So it's good to see him up there, especially in his home state and up 15 positions here. So he's definitely taking advantage of that caution and worked his way up here, but doing a great job.
Yeah, good to see him back in action. Obviously, he's had to miss a couple races due to hurricane season, but
Yeah.
you know, he had to miss Phoenix, which I'm sure not many people would be sad about missing that race the way it went. But we'll leave that in the past. But yeah, good to see Kyle up here. You know, he doesn't get the chance to run a whole lot in iRacing, so I think it's one of those things. If he was able to run on a, you know, almost a nightly basis, like a lot of the front runners in the league and other leagues are, I think he would be up there more often. Because when we started racing together, I mean, him and I would have some crazy battles. I remember back in the league that we met in before we started this one. I mean, him and I had a like 150 lap just war at Iowa.
Kyle got loose there.
Yeah. That's once again kind of the experience thing. I bet if he was, you know, I have so much respect for the guys like him that come here and oftentimes are going 7 days between their iRacing events, you know, and they spend the first half of the race just knocking the rust off. I mean,
Right.
if I take more than 2 or 3 days break, it takes me like 45 minutes just to get my eyes adjusted to the screen and just get back into the groove of things. I have so much respect for guys like him that can come out here on pretty much a weekly basis, almost like you would in real life, and just get in the car and go. As you see Alex up there in his line.
And Kyle gets loose again in between as Strunk goes back by. No, I know exactly how you feel because, like, for me, I only run in like 2 leagues, and one of them's a super speedway league. And those, I mean, all you do is go out there, run a couple laps, and you're back in a groove there. But, you know, the one in the normal part of the week I run in is in an ARCA car, and we're running regular tracks. Like we ran last week, we ran Bristol. This week we got Pocono coming up, and it's like I take a little bit of time in practice just to get back used to hitting my marks, remembering how much brake I need, and all these different kind of things. And so I totally understand where you're coming from, because the other races, I'm sitting here doing what I'm doing right now, yapping my gums and acting like I know what I'm doing here.
Yeah, you're spending more time in the plane now than you are the race car.
Yeah, no kidding, flying. I've actually gone like 5 days without being in the plane. It's kind of weird. Which I actually thought about a trip to Buffalo.
Yeah, I hope you got plenty of fuel, because I don't think there'd be too many options for landing there. But
not going to Hamburg anytime soon.
you know, the thing I did this week, not to get off topic, but with the flight sim, you know, now that they've added the helicopters, I actually landed at the Homestead Air Base in the Citation, and then took the helicopter over to the racetrack. That was pretty neat.
You know the track is right next to the airbase, right?
Oh yeah, it was a short flight, but
You could
it
have
was a flight
walked.
nonetheless. Well, not in a Microsoft Flight Simulator, available on Steam.
Let me guess, you're going to helicopter to Talladega too, next to the airstrip?
I might leave that. I might leave that one alone.
That's a good point. I just thought about that. Yeah, never mind. All right, so 62 laps to go. Brad Delphier, 9th position. Nürnberger, a lot of cars that were running kind of mid-pack now with that accident happening. I mean, you look at Cassidy behind the wall. Matthew Weeks is behind the wall in 24th, so it's going to be a second race that he doesn't get a top 10 in. He looks like he's going to stay above that 30th position, so it looks like he'll win the season championship. I see somebody sparking up in front of Nürnberger here, so I'm not sure if they're bottoming out or if it's just Alex Penn out there having fun again.
Yeah,
But
that's probably they call it the Larson line. It's more like the pin line tonight.
no kidding, right? Driving it like Tyler Reddick, all kinds of loose everywhere. Or as you said earlier in chat, what was it?
Yeah, well, some of these laps he's looking like Ross Chastain the way he's hugging the wall. We might have to investigate that post race, see if he was making up any time.
iRacing, here comes a protest in.
Yeah, got to call in them.
That's funny. So, personally, as a driver, do you feel like you hit your goals this season of what you were wanting to do? Hold on, Alex. Hold on, Alex.
Oh God, see, I wish I could have
How
run that
sore is
line,
his
man,
arms?
but, you know, my left shoulder after this race, obviously breaking the fourth wall. This race was last night, but as if anybody watching didn't already know that. But
Right.
anyway, my left shoulder after the race was so sore. I mean, my arm was like rigor mortis for like 20 minutes after the race. Oh man,
Uh-oh.
this was tough. I can only imagine for him.
Gareth and Garrett have wrecked. Turn 4
Somehow,
there.
is this not bringing out a caution? Okay.
It did not, and I think the
I could
reason
have definitely
why.
benefited from that.
Yes, I think the reason why I didn't bring out a caution is because Garrett Austin towed before Gareth passed him.
Yeah.
Let's
Garrett
see.
and Garrett's show.
Yeah, there's that apron or that seam again, and both of them get loose on seams and then door each other. No blooming onion for the 34.
See, that's one of those things. If you're outside of the car watching it on TV, that would almost look intentional. But the car was just so loose off the
Oh,
corner. I
absolutely.
could see there that Garrett just got so loose, and the car started going around. And unfortunately, Gareth was there to break his fall.
Which at the same time, was something broke on the car. I mean, there's so many factors that come into play there.
Yeah.
But Zach, 1 second lead over Cutlip, and then Casey's 2 seconds back, and then Strunk 2.8. As you see Nick Terrell coming off pit road.
Yeah, I'm getting worried here at this point because the 67, he's running me down, and I'm just trying everything. I'm just driving out of desperation, trying to make up time on the top two. They, like I said, they were definitely a class of their own this first 2/3 or so of the race. We're going through now.
Right, and you still got one more pit stop to make here. Are you looking to split this in half at this point? Or are you looking to go all 52 or 3 laps on a tank of fuel and then, because right now you're looking at, 88 to pit rate. So hold on, Alex. 80, laps, so you probably split it 40 and 40?
Yeah, it's something like that, because obviously you don't want to, with a track like this where the tire kind of hits a cliff after a while, where after about 25, 30 laps or so, you're not really dropping off in the lap times anymore. You definitely didn't want to, do the full run because you weren't going to make that time up on the back end. So cutting in half, you see, and you'll see here a little bit, the strategy's kind of split, but yeah, it was definitely something in your mind because obviously you can't plan for a caution because that's just not the way racing works, especially in a race like this. It's been so clean relatively, but at the same time, you don't want to pit too early and get caught out if a caution comes up. You don't want to pit too late and, like I said, not make that time up on the back end.
Right. So I got to wonder here, and of course, I know Alex goes to Florida Tech there in Melbourne, an area I'm grown up in, so I kind of know that area very well. Been in the gym area there where they play basketball and stuff plenty of times. I can't help but wonder.
I'm sure you're behind the mic most of the time.
Well, right, but I'm not in that area anymore either. But I'm trying to remember what that gym is called there, because I'm wondering if Alex even needs to go in that gym anytime soon after this race.
I think he's working his arms so well at this point. I think he's probably set for the rest of the year at this point.
Kidding.
He had, you hear about leg day all the time. I think Alex is having a leg night or an arm night.
Oh, this is straight arm night right here.
Yeah.
I mean, leg night, all you do is push the throttle down.
Yeah.
But, no, it was great racing on his part here. But, I mean, the battles mid-pack here were just phenomenal throughout the race. I mean, we were watching 2-3 wide. Well, most of it's Alex by himself. But, a lot of this you had McCorkle and, we're looking at right now with Brad Delph and Nurnberger and Dillon. By the way, Rookie of the Year there, Josh Dillon. All fighting for this 10th position or around there.
Yeah, it was a lot of great racing. See, that's the thing I've enjoyed watching this because I was, not to sound condescending, but I mean, I was focused out the windshield on chasing those top two guys down and was so frustrated and all that I missed a lot of this action going on back here. It's one of those things. I'm glad I was running up front, but man, I would have enjoyed being a part of these battles. And like I said, I would have loved to have been running that line that Alex was, but unfortunately, just trying to keep up with those two, I couldn't. I almost had to kind of just mirror what they were doing, trying to keep up with them because man, he's hanging it out every lap.
Which is sometimes what you got to do, and a lot of things too you get to look at in this situation. It sounds like from you guys being tight throughout the race, you guys were burning up the right front tire. In Alex's case, he was almost maybe bouncing out the tires by doing that. So you wonder if this became maybe a little bit of an advantage to him throughout this race because you can get that right rear a little hot and to kind of match it up with the right front. Then it's not so much of a tight setup anymore. It's loose to you.
Yeah, I thought about that at some point of that maybe, obviously in a short run sense, the top wasn't working too much, but then if you start from the beginning and run the top the whole time, you might end up better. Because I definitely noticed in the couple times that I would go to the top line, I would actually, run it for maybe 2 or 3 laps. You see me running it right there up ahead on the track, but I would notice that I would kind of cool the right front down a bit and would actually be a bit faster once I moved back to the bottom. So it was kind of one of those things. I thought about maybe moving and almost alternating. I just, like I said, I was trying so hard to not lose time to the guys behind me and also try to keep within striking distance of the guys in front of me. I was just, kind of scared to go out of the norm there. I was trying to mainly just try to figure out that line that the top two were running.
So what I'm noticing, I watched obviously Ryan there behind you. I haven't seen you do this too much yet as we ride, looking out the back towards Ryan. So going into a corner, obviously you work your way down to the bottom here. You might get a chance to do this here, but obviously as you come up the track, I've noticed a lot of cars just getting loose as they either get back to throttle or back on the seams as they come up the track, almost like the car just de-wedging as it continues to push up.
Yeah, that's definitely how it felt. I mean, you could definitely feel the car just get light and the back end want to come around when you would come off the banking, whether that's a combination of the seams and the setup. I mean, obviously it's a lot to do with the setup, considering how loose it would be on the initial run. But it was just definitely tough. I mean, I remember struggling with it last year on a different setup, with just coming, especially off a turn 4, it just would get so loose, and you kind of got to do that thing that a lot of people don't think about. If you want to drive it up towards the wall, almost like you would at like a Texas or a track like that, and just kind of, I mean, obviously I got a little too high there and had
Mm-hmm.
to steer it back down the hill, but yeah, keeping the wheel as straight as possible is definitely kind of the trick coming off the corner. So it's one of those things you're balancing. You don't want to burn the right front up by trying to fight the car down to the bottom off the corner, but like you said, you don't want to hit those seams and really, kind of lose the tires going up towards the wall that way. So it was definitely a tricky situation.
As we watch Justin Ray here in the 38 car, kind of a comeback trail after his couple of marks on the wall early in this race. Going to go around the 1 car with the help of the pick of the 24 of Thompson. This is all battle here for the 11th position. And a great job by Justin, because I remember earlier that 38 car was scraping everything up on the right side.
Yeah, it's you really get to see what he can do when his car's upright, not off 4 tires. Obviously, he's had a bad habit of turtling and ending up on his lid this season. He's made plenty of note of that on Discord, and it's good to see him up here, moving forward and having a good run. He's been a guy, he's a day 1 guy that's been with us since we started the league, so he stuck through all the thick and mostly thin in the early days, and stuck around. He's got his own team with Piston Broke, which, like you always say, is one of the best team names
That's
probably
awesome.
in iRacing.
Phenomenal.
And they're looking to really solidify their operations coming next season. I talked to them a bit after the race last night, and they were really looking forward to next season and getting things sorted out over the winter.
What's really cool about that team name is they actually do spell it the way it sounds. It's not like it's not like one of those things where you could name it like piston, like the part of the car in Broke.
Yeah.
So Piston Broke, but it actually is spelled the way it exactly is said.
Yeah, and it goes with their logo because it kind of plays on the double meaning. Because I think pretty sure their logo is like a snapped piston.
Oh, easy! Kyle Hall drove to the bottom. McCorkle about ran him over. I'm not sure if that's the exact line Kyle wants to take into turn 1, but that's definitely the way it works here. But this is the 5th place battle here. Kyle trying to get himself a top 5. So is McCorkle. Brad Delph up here. So this is what happens. You get a big Alex Penn's up there playing with the wall again. And, when you see these cars that are running kind of mid-pack throughout this race, and you get a big wreck that takes out a majority of the field, all of a sudden this battle where you guys have been just kind of fighting for 10th to 15th position now becomes a battle for 5th to 10th. So now these guys are really racing hard. And you notice they're getting closer and closer together here. You see, 5 under a blanket here for 5th.
Yeah, you definitely, I mean, you can feel the intensity pick up in a situation like that. Like I said, if you're running 12th, 13th place, I know you've probably been in that situation before, and all of a sudden some of the guys that maybe you weren't able to keep up with get taken out, and all of a sudden, like you said, that 12th place battle becomes a 7th place battle or a 5th place battle. It definitely picks up the intensity, and you definitely feel the energy change once you're a part of that. And yeah, this looks like a lot of fun. I wish, like I said, I'm glad I was up a few spots ahead, but I wish I'd been a part of the action here last night.
Well, part of the reason I also say that is because, and a lot of times you might hear me, and it's funny because I got the group I raced for, the TI team, they're actually begging me. They want me to stream more of me racing, which I always find when I'm streaming myself racing, like I get like 1 viewer, and I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna stream for 1 person. But like at the same time, they're all like, they'll hear me, and I'll say it on the stream when I'm out there. I'll be like, all right, I'm just letting the race come to me, or let the race come to you. Let the race come. And part of that is that exact deal. You never know when you're going to get a wreck with 10, 15 people or less, and all of a sudden you're running up in the top 5 instead of kind of pushing it early in the race at lap 20, and you wreck out or you get damaged, you end up 30th. Part of that letting the race come to you is letting some of these cars put themselves in trouble so that you can matriculate your way up the field.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the approach I take, even running, up in the top 5 a lot. I mean, it's why I'm usually, you'll oftentimes see me in 2nd, 3rd, 4th place, even in races where I've got the pace. I mean, we saw it a few weeks ago in Texas. I marched up to the lead and then, had an Icarus moment, kind of like Mike Husby, where I went up to the lead and burned my tires off and then disappeared. But that's my thing, is like, I don't want to lead vanity laps. Nobody cares who leads lap 43. It's all about being there at the end and being patient. And I'm somebody that, has a tendency to make mistakes in high pressure situations on iRacing. So I typically just kind of lay low and hang back. And, you saw it at the start of the race. I was faster than Cutlip, but just hanging back. I'm like, all right, if I'm faster than him now and I'm not pushing, then I should be better, better than him early, later on. And I'm just going to kind of build that advantage by saving tires. Maybe he's pushing hard to stay in front of me, and that's kind of the motto I take and the approach I take to racing in general. And what I have an admiration for is guys like Zach and Matthew and Tooker and all of them that can save tires and be patient like that, but also just put the burners on everybody and leave them in the dust at the same time. It's so impressive.
Yeah, and those drivers do a great job, and that's why you see those guys up there at the front for the most part here. So I couldn't help but I'm looking at these stats right now, and I'm looking at how many laps that Zach Rogers has led. And basically, going into this race, his number was somewhere around 250. And basically, he entered this race fourth in most laps led going into this race. And second place was actually David Tooker, or the leader, I should say, was David Tooker at 316 laps. Obviously, Tooker, as you said, kind of went AWOL the last couple weeks, maybe something going on or whatever. Hope everything's okay there. But basically, already in this race, Rogers has moved up in the lead for the laps led this season, just from the dominance of this race so far. I don't know what it is about this track, but this 4-car is hooked.
Yeah, that's kind of the form that we've seen from Zach a lot of times. I mean, in the first couple seasons, obviously, before you kind of joined with the partnership.
Maybe I'm the problem.
But this was kind of the typical thing for him. Not saying that this is like he's a choke artist or anything, but he'd had so many races, kind of like me, where he would have, he would dominate, and then just something would happen, whether he gets hip checked by netcode or he loses connection, just to have something go wrong, as he's got Nick Terrell running him down on new tires. But I think it's a lapped car. But he's had so many wins taken from him where he was the dominant car. He'll go out here and lead. I mean, even Nashville, the race that I won, he led. I mean, if you think back, he led like 120, and it was like 150 laps, and then just obviously the strategy split, and he was kind of, the music stopped, and he wasn't in the chair, so to speak, and so, he's season 3, he finally was able to break through and finish what he started in so many races, and then, unfortunately for him, it had kind of been a similar situation this season where he's been up there so many weeks, and unfortunately, the guy named Weeks had been getting a lot of those wins, but to see him running up here isn't surprising, but at the same time, you're always impressed by seeing guys like him and Tooker are really those guys where they may not be up there running first or second every single week, but man, those certain tracks and those certain weeks when they dial it in, they're just in another zip code, and that's definitely a night like this tonight for Zach.
And you see Strunk has gone by you for third, as I see Alex Carr's on pit road. But real quickly, it's interesting. I just looked at season 3, and Zach's wins came at Las Vegas, a 1.5-mile track with kind of an older surface. It came also at Kansas, which is a 1.5-mile track, and in Rockingham, which has an old surface. You put those two things together, look where we're at. Homestead, 1.5 miles with an old surface.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, he and I are really similar, and like we have similar track preferences. I was joking with him last night that we started in iRacing the same week, like 2 years ago. Obviously I'd done a couple league races before we started this league, but this was his first league, and we didn't know each other beforehand, but we've been so similar, and obviously seeing him pull away from me is kind of frustrating on a personal standpoint, but I was giving him a hard time about how like all the tracks that I was good at in this league, he's just completely leapfrogged me, and like a Rockingham, a Nashville Fairgrounds, a Homestead, even a Kansas were tracks that I'd coming into this year was really looking forward to racing at, and he just is pretty much in every single one of those just been the car to beat and been, like I said, in his own zip code. So you see Kyle Hall coming to pit road.
Yep, Hall's on pit road. You got Steven Thompson's coming to pit road, it looks like. So green flag pit stops right here at 131, which is about the halfway point of this 80-lap run. So I think you're going to see a lot of the split strategy here that you think's coming out of these cars. Not that you would know. But Hall's in here, 4 tires, fuel for him. 24's in, same. Actually, 2 tires for Thompson, 10.7.
That'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I definitely was not brave enough to spoiler alert, definitely not brave enough to take 2 tires here.
Oh,
but,
I was stunned.
There I am.
I'll be honest with you. I'll throw the little spoiler out there. I was a little stunned last night when you guys talked about people taking 2 tires. I'm like, at Homestead? No. Right side's going on mysteriously.
Yep.
And then
right rear tire change is a little slow.
Yeah,
we'll work on that over the offseason. Probably distracted by all the scraped paint from where I got into the wall trying to...
Oh, McCorkle missed pit road up there. He about took the barrels. I saw a red and white car beelining towards the yellow barrels, and he hung a right, thankfully. He's going to lose some spots for it.
Yeah, it's a good thing he was able to avoid it. That wouldn't be the first time that he would have hit the attenuator. So good to see that he's improved over the course of the year.
Wait a minute, you say it's not the first time you'd Matt Kenseth?
No, it is not.
Oh, well, there you go. McCorkle, there he is. Of course, you think of the 05 race with Kurt Busch and the right front tires splitting the car from the barrels right there. Yikes. Of course, I was at that race, by the way, too.
I was watching it on TV at a friend's house. Probably playing with like Star Wars action figures or something, because I was like 8 or 9.
That would make sense. As here comes Sir Loose-a-Lot. Alex Penn on pit road.
Maybe not the fastest driver last night, but definitely the most entertaining to watch. Yeah, even if his car is an eyesore, but you know,
I'm surprised
hopefully there's no Canadians watching.
Surprised the wall's not plaid. Josh Dillon to pit road here, so this is all with 33 laps to go in this race. I should just look at the ticker and it'll tell me. Dillon coming in, rookie of the year.
Yeah, he's been so impressive this season. Like I can't speak highly enough of somebody like that. You know, I love members like that, especially when, you know, obviously they're coming to the league and they're new. That, you know, I'm pretty sure nobody that was already in the league got him here. I think he just, you know, kind of came in as an independent on his own thing, kind of keeps to himself, but he shows up every week. He keeps his nose clean. He races well. I mean, that's just like the model league member.
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously a lot of the league numbers, as you see with, you know, like Mountain Man Mafia, they've got like 12 drivers in this league at this point. But a lot of it is, you know, word of mouth recruitment of, hey, I'm racing in this league, you should come race with us and all that. So when you bring in those kind of free agents, you could say like him or Brad Delph, it's always a really nice thing to have members like that, you know, they're not maybe part of the inner core of the league, but they're there every week, you know, like a Craig Martin, and I could just name like 5 of them. Ooh, Brad doing a little burnout as he enters the pits, but yeah, I mean, Josh has been so impressive. I mean, to run as well as he has as a rookie and all that, it's just been proud to see it, and definitely looking forward to. I'll have a more. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. I'll have a more invested interest in his results next season, but we'll leave that once again to the off-season announcements.
Yeah, as Zach Rogers continues to stay out here, as Strunk and Ray come to pit road now. This is lap number 136. Their final pit stops likely here of the season. You know, it kind of leads me to ask this question, as you joked around kind of sarcastically saying that, you know, Mountain Man has the 12 members on their team. Any thoughts to putting a cap on the amount of drivers that can score? Like, and what I mean by this is not like the amount of drivers on one team, is the amount of drivers that score for a team a night. As in, like, for instance, if, say, Rogers and Cutlip are teammates, and Silvers and Hess are part of that team too, then only Rogers and Cutlip's points would score for the team.
Yeah, that's actually the way it works currently. We have officially there's a 4 driver cap for each team as far as being able to score points, and then in the race it's only the top 2 finishers for each team that score, so it kind of already works out that way.
They beat the snot out of you guys then.
Well, yeah, well, when you think about it, I mean, look at, you know, Cutlip is essentially a Mountain Man associate. You know, he's a friend of the Mafia. And then Rogers is there. But, I mean, typically you think Tooker, Rogers, Matthew Weeks, obviously this season, most of the time, those guys are going to be running, you know, 2 out of the 3, or maybe sometimes even all 3, you know, running 1, 2, 3. So it's, you know, definitely benefits to have, you know, 3, like the 3 best drivers in the league driving under the same umbrella. And then when you've got, like I said, guys like Cutlip and guys like Trey Holmes, obviously he's out of the race now, but guys like that are associates, Vander Morel and all that, it just helps with, obviously they're not scoring points, but,
right,
you know, just kind of, you know, more resources as it is in real life, you know, just more information, you know, it helps on the restarts, because, you know, you can't outlaw gaming the restarts, as frustrating as it may be when you're sitting there in 3rd place and you're surrounded by Mountain Man Motorsports cars and they all go, you know, instantaneously in a synchronized way. But that's just the way it works in team racing. That's one of the benefits of having a team.
And of course, James Silvers is leading now. If you saw Rogers and Cutlip come to pit road, so only 2 cars have not pitted, and that's Silvers and then Garrett Hess, who actually was having a great run earlier, but then unfortunately Pyle drove, I think it was a 17, ironically, and you know, here they are running 1st and 2nd now. Just saw you make the pass, or at least trying to make the pass here on Cutlip on the bottom, and you're going to slide up here and complete the pass. And I'm sure with Cutlip just coming off pit road, he's letting the tires kind of heat up.
Yeah,
And
he only took 2 tires on that last stop, so it's definitely going to be a balance because I'm on older tires at this
true.
point. I pitted like 8 9 laps before. I tried to undercut because typically that's the last thing I do. I try to always be the last one to pit, just have the freshest tires in case of a caution. But I figured with me making no ground on him, whether I was saving or pushing throughout the race, it was I had to do something different, and I was definitely surprised when I was able to get back by around him. Like I said, I figured he would pull away from me in the similar way that Zach did. So I was definitely white knuckling at this point, and maybe I wasn't running the same line as Alex, but I was definitely putting the same arm strain on
Right.
myself in these last 25 laps or so here to the end of the race.
They're only a second back now from Rogers, so you definitely made up the time. And if my numbers are right here, it looks like Zach maybe went 2 tires also here. So I see both he and Jonathan with only 10 or 11 second stops, and then you had I don't know, you had some kind of .37 second pit time. That was pretty impressive. That, you must have the pit crew from Cars.
Yeah, I had a Red Bull Racing. They contracted some of their guys over to me for the 3 second pit stops.
So, yeah, Silvers and Hess yet to pit, and then Rogers leading Carrington by 1.5. That's who's talking, by the way, outside of me here, in case you're just joining us. Jonathan Cutlip up to 5th, and then a little gap back to a battle between Nernberger, who's having, I think, his best run of the season, and Ryan Strunk here in the 67, one of the bigger movers now. Matter of fact, he is the biggest mover in the race. If there was a hard charger award, he would probably get it tonight.
Yeah, well, like I said, he's been so impressive this season. I mean, he kind of really came out of nowhere. He showed up, and I think Indianapolis might have been his first race. At least that was the first time I took notice of him. He had I believe, a top 5 run there, and he's been really good. I think the more repetitions he gets in this league, the more experience he gets, he's definitely going to be somebody to look out for next season. I know he's really looking forward to not only next season, but obviously the off-season Aaron series that we're going to be running. He's been messaging me a lot. Just really looking forward to that. So it's, once again, as I was saying with Josh Dillon, it's always nice to have these new members that come in kind of on their own deal, and that they just got such a love and enthusiasm for the league as it's new and fresh to them that it kind of is reinvigorating for guys like us that have been at it for the better part of 2 years. It's kind of almost, I don't want to say routine, but kind of more of a laid back environment, and you got guys in here that are just bouncing off the walls, excited and having a blast every night. It definitely brings the excitement level back up, especially later in the season.
Here's Silvers on pit road, and there is one money question I do have for you. Being the owner of this league, if there's somebody out there listening or watching right now that wants to be a part of the All-American ARCA series, Stephen Miles, how do you want them getting a hold of you?
Well, there's certain ways. Obviously, we're on Facebook, All-American ARCA series. You can find us pretty easily. We got over 1,000 likes on Facebook somehow, so I'm not going to complain.
Hey.
But yeah, we're on Twitter, All-American ARCA, for the people that are still using that.
Hey, really?
That's been beaten to death. I'm not gonna regurgitate that meme. But yeah, you can find us. You can find us on the league page. Obviously, if you go to the iRacing site, you can go to the leagues tab and search for All-American ARCA series. We have a Discord. That's pretty much where 99.999, repeating of course, percent of our operations are on Discord. Every now and then I'll send out an email to all the league members. But yeah, you can find us. We're a featured league on Sim Racer Hub. Big shout out to Quentin Sneed and everything he does at Sim Racer Hub. He has been a part-time member. Obviously, he's busy working in real racing, so he doesn't, and obviously running the site as well. So he doesn't have the time to run too often, especially on a Friday night like we run. But big shout out to him. We're featured on there. You'll see us on the sidebar every now and then. And there's plenty of ways. We'll be definitely doing probably some recruitment races and making some waves on the forums, trying to bring in some more Ryan Strunks, more Josh Dillons, more John Cutlips, and all that for season 5.
That'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. Hopefully, the issues I have on the side, we'll call it, get out of my way, and we can be in here live each and every Friday night. At least majority of the time we're able to, but hopefully all in the future, and put on a good show. Now, I've been impressed by what I've seen. I've told others about it. It's why, I was waiting for him to react in chat, and he didn't, so I don't think he's watching right now. But I know a couple of people on my end that I race with are interested in coming over to join, so you might have a pretty good crop of rookies. Hold on, Jonathan. Got loose there over that seam and caught the outside wall, but I could definitely see a very talented crop of rookies coming in here next season. And like I said, with that cap coming into play, that's going to come into an interesting role here, because you could see some very talented drivers if they make them. Cutlips all over the place now. You could see some interesting drivers that are talented that run in this league, maybe not make a race next season.
Yeah, it's Yeah, I mean, obviously you see Jonathan there. He's kind of like I was earlier in the race,
Dancing.
taking the Alex Penn approach of just driving the wheels off of it. And it's amazing. It really speaks to the pace that he had because, as you saw right there last lap, he hit the wall coming off a two, and I swear he did that 5 or 6 times in my mirror. And every time he would do it, I'm like, all right, I got him. He's gonna, he's gonna drop back. And, I kind of won the battle, and I don't have to worry about him. And the next thing I know, he's like right back, 4 or 5 car lengths behind me. So. It was one of those things. It was almost like a horror movie. Every time I would think, I'd take a breath and relax, I'd look
Got
in
rid
my
of
mirror
Jason.
and start sweating again. Yeah.
Good stuff there. That's 1.7 seconds back here. And trying to think, have you finished in the top 2 since your win at Nashville?
Not in the top
Don't
2.
think so. Yeah, top 3 you have.
I had a podium at Dover, and I think that might have been my last podium.
Concrete. What do you know?
Yeah.
So no, you've definitely
all I had to do was hip check the champion out of the way to make the podium, which of course led to a lot of
discussion.
Discussion, yeah, we'll call it that. But hey, we sorted out. It's just one of those things. I guess if he runs Aaron in the winter, he's gonna really have to take it to me because he owes me like 2 now, going back to earlier in the year. So. But yeah, it's always it's the thing with him. Like we get along perfectly fine. Obviously, we're not really part of the same social group and all of that. But we have no real personal issues. It's just we have a bad habit of always trying to occupy the same spot on the track, and unfortunately, it tends to turn out with me getting the better end of it. But he gets the short end. Right. Ironically, the better driver gets the short end of the stick on those. But
well, and he's got you winning all counts because right now looks like he's going to finish 26th, which will get him the championship. It looks like of the complete season. So he's got that one over you. He's got season 4 over you. And they've got a few more wins than you. So, a little work to do.
Yeah, I know.
Give me some motivation.
I mean, I'm sure that's probably the way he looks at it. He's like, man, this guy can only beat me when he knocks me into the wall. That's probably his strategy. But I mean, I love racing him because that's the thing. Like, when we're not making net code contact or whatever, we can race really hard. And the thing I like about Matthew, too, just as a driver, not only does he have the skill and all that, but he's somebody that's, even better than me at it of, maybe like tonight he gets caught up in a wreck and he's furious about it for 90 seconds and then he lets it go and gets over it and kind of puts it in perspective and realizes at the end of the day, we're not in the Coke series here. We're not out here making money. We're not, this isn't furthering our careers as a sim racer. We're out here to have fun. So, that's the goal at the end of the day. And if you're letting your frustration or ego or whatever, was an issue I went through, in the first couple seasons.
Oh, it's easy to do. It's easier said than done. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like if you're letting the competitive side of you take away from the enjoyment of it, it's kind of making the whole thing redundant. And he recognizes that, and as somebody that might be mad, and I can't tell you how many times I've seen him apologizing, even for over small stuff.
Right.
So it's just you talk about the champion attitude, and he definitely exudes it on and off the track here in this league.
Oh, I've had my share of moments. I mean, especially the league I run in on Saturday nights. I got to run tonight. I've had my share of like, man, I'm gonna go wreck this guy. I can't believe that. Just getting angry and all this stuff. And at the end of the race, I'll sit back and I'll even vent sometimes on their Facebook page, and I'm like, you know what, guys, I'm sorry. I'm just frustrated, and I guess I get that from my dad, being the way he was, at the same way as we watch this awesome battle, by the way. Brad Delph and Kyle Hall are taking it to town right now. These two fighting side by side. This 7th position here, I saw Brad made the pass just like he is right now, and then Kyle crossed him over just like he is right now, and I just don't think he has the momentum this time. That's the only difference here, but those two fighting very hard. But yeah, here's the thing that I always argue with people about. Now, I wouldn't say argue, but discuss. When you get people like you and I don't know exactly what you wanted to do when you were younger, but I assume it was drive a race car. And
amongst several other things, but yes,
right.
driving a race car was an option.
Right.
So I thought.
Yeah, right. So like you and I, for people like us, and yeah, I'm still working on a broadcast career. I wanted to be a race car driver too. And, unless you start pretty much at birth, you're not going to make it into racing. So basically at that point, the closest thing you and I have to making it to be a real race car driver is this. So you almost in your mindset come to think, hey, this is my job now outside of your real job. So when you do wreck and you have things happen, it bothers the hell out of you. So it's totally understand. So then when you get somebody, dude, it's just a game, relax. Tell somebody that who's pretty fired up at the moment. Yeah, it ain't gonna work.
Tell somebody that who spent $2,500 on their setup
That's
and
pretty fair. That's fair too.
yeah,
Or spend
$600 on content.
right, or $500 or $50 on a league fee, or have a sponsor like Fastenal, for instance, that could be actually sponsoring you, and and you're not running well in it. I mean, there's so many little factors that come into play that I think others who maybe, no offense to anybody who's done this out there, but bought the game off Steam during the COVID because you had nothing else to do.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're at a point now on iRacing where you have true racers or race fans and people that just like gaming because they got nothing else to do in their life.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely got that combination, and that's the thing that you always, you can't really see it so much on track outside of maybe like bottom split, but definitely there is a different mindset. So like you said, this to me, this is a simulation of being a race car driver. I mean, there's the old saying, those who do, and those who cannot teach. And that kind of became those who do, and those who cannot talk about those who do. And now it's like
what?
Those who can do, and then those who can't pretend to do it in a virtual environment. So it's just to me, I take it seriously. But once again, like we were saying, I also keep a good perspective of it. At the end of the day, it's for fun. I'm not gonna be making $80K a year running All-American ARCA. And as you see, Zach Rogers here, going to pass. Rory Knowles back out on track after his trouble. Like
I said earlier, he stopped. He went off to Polio Tropical, the Miami restaurant.
Yeah, so that's the thing. We can always count on somebody that's very worldly as you to always know the locations and all the hot spots at the tracks we race at.
I went to college in Fort Lauderdale. That's how I know that.
Yeah, well, there you go. The furthest south I've ever been in Florida was like 3 feet off the coast of Destin. So we'll just leave it at that.
So you ain't even been on the east coast of Florida yet?
No, not yet.
Oh. Well, don't worry, you just got hit by a hurricane.
If I don't go down for one of the Daytona races, I would like to go down and see the moon mission launch in a couple years whenever they finally get that underway.
Which was only about an hour from where I grew up. I remember plenty of times sitting there on I'd be out playing baseball or whatever, doing whatever as a kid, and the shuttle would launch, and you'd look way out in the distance.
Ground shakes.
No, actually, we were too far for that part. But you could see the like little light just kind of going up in the sky with the smoke and stuff, and you could see it out from distance. But now the one story off that I have is when doing radio in Melbourne. I remember being right there north of the Melbourne Square Mall where I was doing the radio stuff at, and because of weather, the plane or the shuttle had to come in from like the west coast, and it flew right over the building. And I'm on the third story, and I literally joked out loud on the air and said, yeah, if you feel the ground shake, it's because the shuttle's going over you right now, and the building I felt like it was an earthquake.
I can imagine.
But anyway, hey, 5 laps to go, by the way, and Zach Rogers looking like he might actually get off the schneid here in the final race of the season. Too little too late, unfortunately, for the Snap Auto Parts car, but looks like he has the tools maybe to go to victory lane. He's pulled away to a 3-second lead on you. He's got a 4.5-second lead on Cutlip, Strunk there in 4th. And Josh Dillon looking to cap off his Rookie of the Year title with a top 5 finish here. As we've been just kind of sitting there yakking, watching the laps. It's been great racing. Been trying to catch what battles I can. As here's Greg Carr and McCorkle, 1 and 2, battling for 9th and 10th.
Yeah, a lot of good guys having, good runs to close out the season. Brad Delph, Josh Dillon, Zach Nurnberger, Kyle Hall, like I said, making his return. Alex Carr, Cody McCorkle. Like you said, that big wreck kind of took out a lot of the, the middle third or so of the group early on. And you see these guys, like I said, the intensity going up and their eyeballs probably getting big and really, putting the pedal to the metal here as we close the season out.
And these two are almost hitting each other down the straightaway, racing hard. Your car must have fell off here, or Zach came alive, because you've lost a full second in the last, 2 laps.
Oh, yeah, I mean, when you consider that he was, probably a second or two faster than me a stint already.
You were probably just bringing it home at this point.
With me pitted, well, then I'm mirror driving, too, trying to keep Cutlip behind me.
And also I had, a second apart?
8, I mean, hey, once again, I had 8 or 9 lap newer tires and still couldn't save as well as I could on even tires, so. As you see, McCorkle running kind of that pin line that Alex was running earlier, and probably still is somewhere on track.
And then here comes Silvers in here. It's like, I want a part of this fun.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to James Silvers tonight, or last night was his last time, at least for now, as a full-time driver, and he's another day one guy that's been with us since the start of the league, and he's the only driver, through now, I guess that'll change, that has been to every single race we've ever ran. So, I made the little NASCAR Thunder-esque tribute paint
I
for him
see
there,
that.
replacing the Jack Daniels with his name, and I think it looks really good. Personally, I didn't think it would look as good on track as it has, but yeah, big shout out to him as we're coming here to 2 to go.
Actually, to the white flag. Rogers takes it 1 lap to go. In the final lap of the season, Zach Rogers, who won. Yeah, you're really mirror driving now. He's got a half second, down to 0.3 of a second. You got a flat tire there, Bill Elliott? What's going on here?
No, I underfilled and was clutching
saving
for the last
fuel.
3 or 4 laps. Yes, I've got about a half a tank or a half a gallon left right here.
Good
Coming
grief.
down the back stretch.
As off of turn 3 and 4, it's going to break a nice little tie with 3 career wins with a bunch of other guys. His 4th series win, Season 3 champion, Zach Rogers, your winner at Homestead. Finally getting that first win of the season as Carrington holds off Cutlip for 2nd. Ryan Strunk going to finish in the 4th position. And how about Josh Dillon, a top 5 for him? Brad Dell finishing 6th. Nurnberger, Kyle Hall, and James Silvers passes both McCorkle and Alex Carr to get a top 9 finish for him. Alex Penn, 12th. Ray and Thompson going to round out the cars on the lead lap. But how about that? Zach Rogers, 4th career win in his 54th career start, actually. Well, let me back this up. 52nd career start, 55th career counted race. Get those provisionals in there. Got a long ways to catch Mr. Eckert there with 18 wins. David Tooker with 7. And now Rogers with 4 for the number 4. I'm sure he was probably pretty happy about it. It's kind of funny because last night, obviously this race was from last night. I made the joke coming back, and I noticed you didn't answer. And as I got to the finish here, I'm like, that makes sense now. I made a comment to Casey. I said, "What did Rogers probably get off the schneid finally last night?" And there was no answer.
Yeah, I didn't want to spoil anything.
So
I mean, you heard enough on your drive home of talking about the race. It kind of spoiled it. So
that's all good. But no, hey, call the race like you don't know what's going on. You see him doing donuts there with 20. Craig Martin, uncalled for shot back there on somebody on pit road. There's people on pit road, for God's sakes.
People are just so glad to have their Friday nights back. They're doing burnouts even when they finish 20th.
Alex Penn.
That's a cool shot too. There, as you see Silvers and Rogers. They were teammates actually. That was in season 1, and I believe maybe even season 2. Rogers was on Cornerstone Motorsports with James Silvers and his team. So that's cool to kind of see them do kind of a tribute thing there at the end.
No clue what Penn's doing. I got nothing.
I think he was wanting to do a nose bump with Alex, because Alex and Zach obviously are endurance teammates. We ran a lot of the endurance races this year as a team, so there you go. There's a little. I can't think of the movie with the dogs with the spaghetti, but I'm sure they would prefer me not to make that reference anyway.
Hang on. I got a 3-year-old. I should know this. It's Turner and Hooches in my head, but it's definitely not that. Lady and the Tramp.
There you go. Well, I don't know who's the lady and who's the tramp. I want them to decide that. But
well, I was gonna say I'm surprised that Alex's right rear was even alive to do that burnout, but that's a whole nother story for another day here.
As you see, yeah, I tried to get in contact with Zach. I guess he had some type of Napa Auto Parts sponsor commitment. I don't know where to make it for an interview.
Okay.
He's over there in the chat. But yeah, he's out of the house.
Pit road's down. Victory Lane's down that way, by the way. I don't know where he's going.
Yeah, well, evidently that sponsor commitment was pretty early today. It must have been heading to the hauler already.
Fly out.
That or he had something at number 4 that he didn't want us finding in the post-race teardown.
Well,
he was already halfway to Orlando by the time we got to the post-race tech, evidently.
That's funny. Well, man, great job. Appreciate you coming up and joining me, talking a little bit. Looking forward to what season 5 has for us, and I know we'll be talking and getting everything squared away, and hopefully my issues will go away and we'll be able to go. But for now, I'm gonna go make some dinner. I'm freaking hungry.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out really quick to everybody obviously that tuned in tonight and all throughout the season, all the drivers that competed. I mean, it's just they make the league. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and put the time in to run the league for me and like 3 other people. I mean, it's I obviously Joseph and I and Kyle helps out a little bit with with the operations, but to me, the league is always the drivers, and they're who make it hard. Whether it's Zach Rogers, like you said, getting off the schnoz or whatever, and
The what?
getting the win here tonight, or whatever.
The
I'm not a
Schneid?
wordsmith as you. Schneid, there you go.
Are you kidding me? You said a word earlier. I'm sitting there like, what did you just say? What was that word?
It was incoherency.
Get that one.
Yeah, the incoherent. As aggressive goes to victory lane
I think I
here.
was
But
called.
anyway,
I think I was called that a bunch. Anyways.
yeah, I wonder why. But a big shout out to everybody. Obviously, I want to congratulate you. About halfway through the broadcast, you did get to 800 subscribers. So,
Woohoo!
so there you go. Big congratulations for one of the best commentators in all of iRacing. You do a
Money's in
great
the mouth.
job with us. I was so glad to have you for the season. I know we tried to make it work out for season one. If I don't even know if you remember that, but you were busy. I think you were doing your own league or something on Friday nights. But
Actually,
glad
I
to
was
have you here for season
probably
4.
doing blown piston. Ironically, piston broke.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Then that piston broke, and you were able to cover piston broke. But like I said, big shout out to all the members. Big shout out to James Silvers. He's going to be around still every now and then, running part time. Congratulations to Mountain Man Motorsports, Robert Hill, and all those guys. If Robert Hill ever gets off that island, he must be stranded on for the second half of the season. Maybe he'll come around to collect the trophy. But big shout out to everybody that came out and raced this season, and obviously everybody that tuned in on YouTube and Facebook and all those other sites are always shouting out. We do the league once again. I mean, it's one thing to run the league for fun. Obviously, it's a recreation for us and the other members.
Right.
But to understand that there's like people that aren't even maybe not even on iRacing that love tuning in. I know Garrett's grandma is a big fan of his and is always tuning in. And you got a lot of parents and spouses and all of that tune into the broadcast. And hey, that's if we can entertain somebody on a Friday night, even if they're not behind the wheel, that's more than I ever thought we would accomplish with this week. So I'm thankful for all that. And like I said, looking forward to season 5 and year number 3 of All American ARCA. It's crazy to think that we've already been at it for 2 whole years, but definitely looking forward to next season, next year.
Absolutely, man. No, it's been a pleasure, and you pretty much sound like me when it comes to this broadcast. I do it for the viewers, I do it for the leagues, I do it for the drivers. I'm not here for myself at all. It's all about fun, and Casey, you're a part of the league. Don't. I know you're speaking from the humble owner side, but you're a part of this with the drivers and stuff. So make sure you do give yourself some credit for what you do in the league with the drivers and stuff. So it's been fun, and congratulations. I'll run through the results real quickly here. Casey probably wipes his eyes with tissues. Rogers wins by 4.3 over Carrington. Cutlip finishes 3rd. Ryan Strunk 4th, and Josh Dillon 5th. Brad Delf, Zach Nernberger, Kyle Hall, James Silvers, Cody McCorkle finishes 10th. Alex Carr, Alex Penn 11th and 12th with Justin Ray, and Stephen Thompson finishes 14th. Garrett Hess, Greg Carr, Sean Foltz, Jacob Feskinen unfortunately had a good run early. That kind of fell apart a little bit there for him at the end of the race. Nick Terrell finishing 19th. Trey Holmes 20th, Larry Knoll 21st, Gareth McAllister 22nd, Craig Martin 23rd, Garrett Austin 24th, Sean Cassidy 25th, Matthew Weeks, the overall 2022 champion plus season 4 champion, there in 26th, Austin Bloom 27th, Chris Travis, who filled in for Tyler Burden. I believe that's one of the 36 cars, might be its best run of the season. 36th there, or 28th there. No, I'm kidding. 29th goes to John Kreidler, William Martin 30th, Justin Vandermerel 31st, 32nd, James Kugler, and James Efall. Blake made his debut tonight in a Steve Park looking car. I think I saw from a distance. Finished in the 33rd position here this evening. So there was your 33 drivers. But no, man, looking forward to season 5. Appreciate you coming to join us. Let's go watch some college football, enjoy ourselves, and appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is actually a lot of fun. I figured it would be, like a 5-minute spot. I ended up being here for the second half of the race, but yeah, I'm ready to go watch UT beat the hell out of the Gamecocks, and good luck to you watching your game. I know we probably got it on DVR or something.
Oh, I do.
So,
Yeah, I do.
And then maybe at some point when you were scrolling through the results, you'll figure out what game I was talking about with the jorts and all that.
Well, I won't know until later because I will literally put my phone aside when the game's on. I don't touch it. Unless my wife
you'll
or somebody calls me.
you'll definitely take satisfaction out of the result that I'm talking about, and you'll probably see it on the top of Twitter or whatever.
As long as it involves that team out of Gainesville that we hopefully can put a beat down on Friday night next week. Because remember, in case you're a Florida State fan, it's next Friday night. First time it's a Friday game.
Well, I mean, they probably couldn't get much lower, and if a certain wannabe Ivy League school can beat them on a Saturday, I think Florida State can beat them on a Friday. But we'll see.
They play Yale. Then again, don't play with the Ivy League.
I said wannabe Ivy League.
Northwestern? They only won one game. I'm just kidding.
It's a school that, well, I'll put it this way: my uncle attended it
I
twice
think
on
I
two
know
different
where you're.
occasions.
I figured out it's the other school in Nashville outside of Belmont. I got you.
Yeah, yeah, and
I get
outside
it.
of Lipscomb as well. But
Oh, I forgot that one.
let's just say my uncle attended that school twice and is the biggest Tennessee fan that I know. So that speaks a lot to their fan base and their reach in the Middle Tennessee area. But
That's
hey,
gonna.
congrats to them. They beat that's like two teams that they haven't beaten in 30 years that they've beaten this season.
That
So
makes me feel pretty good
shout
to
out
know
to
that Miami lost to Middle Tennessee State this year, and then Florida's potentially lost to Vanderbilt. That's.
yeah, it's just that, hey, it's that partnership that we've had. It's continuing on with
I like it. I
the
just
Florida
hope.
State Tennessee kind of connection.
I hope we don't play in a bowl game.
Oh God, no, hopefully it goes like 98 if it
Shut
does.
up with that
Hey, I was
T
2 years
Martin
old.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, you can remember it. I can't. So
I don't remember much of the game. I just remember T Martin is what I remember, and Peerless Price and those guys. Anyways, yeah, don't think I forgot that stuff. Anyways, all right, go on. Let's go enjoy football. Have fun.
Yep.
This isn't just a game.
Thanks everybody for watching.
Absolutely. This isn't just a game. It's iRacing. See ya.